All right. Hello, hello, hello. Say hello to everybody out there. Those that are going to be with us tonight live, and those that are going to go back and watch it later. We sure do appreciate it. Get all this out of the way first. Want to ask everybody to, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, guys. Help us out. Each week we gain more people, and we certainly appreciate it. But we're nowhere near what we need to be. So you guys hit subscribe and start telling people to subscribe as well. We would appreciate it. And also, you got time? Run on over to our website, mannimalresearch.com. We put a lot of time and effort into that site, and I'm proud of it. I built it myself. Yeah, go check it out. You can report your encounters there. You can find information about getting out and doing some field research yourself. And if you're interested in coming on the show, like we like doing, having different guests on each week and tell your story or something like that, we'd love to have you. But that's the first step, guys. Go on that website and submit your encounter. All right, just like every week, I am joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Ricky Weaver. How's it going tonight, Ricky?
Going good, man. Really looking forward to hearing Mr. Patrick's story and having him share with our viewers what the techniques that he uses uh, in his research.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've been talking to Patrick for a little bit, had him scheduled for a while to come on, so that's finally happening tonight. Before we get started, Ricky, happy Father's Day. It's a
Yeah,
late
and you
Father's
too,
Day.
man.
Thank you. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Dads are important,
Oh yeah,
and yeah, we appreciate everything that you guys do. And I got a pretty good Father's Day gift yesterday. I found out that I'm gonna be a grandpa for the first time. Yeah, I know what
well,
everybody's thinking.
welcome aboard, man.
I know what everybody's thinking. Wayne, you're too young. You're too pretty to be a grandpa, but
Oh yeah,
it's happening. So my oldest boy, Christopher, and his wife Jessica came to visit yesterday and gave me the good news. And I want to say congratulations to both of them. They're going to do great, and I love both of you very much. So congratulations, guys.
congratulations, guys. I know old Wayne, you're gonna make a good grandpa.
Well, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try.
Hey, dude, I got my first one 17 years ago. I have three of them now, and wouldn't take nothing for none of them. They're three beautiful kids, and the joy of my life.
Good deal. Good deal. All right. Well, like you were saying, we got Mr. Patrick Vaughn tonight. Patrick is out of Louisiana. Been doing this for quite a while. We'll let him tell you, what all he does. Bigfoot is not, his main thing and his main area of expertise, but he's had some luck, some success. I got quite a few pictures to share with you guys tonight as well, and he's going to help us go over them. But other than that, if you're ready, Ricky, we'll just bring him on.
All right, bring him on, man.
There he is. How you doing, Patrick?
How's it going? How are y'all?
Good.
Good.
It's good. We're doing good, buddy. We talked you up a little bit. If you want to tell us, I'm interested to see how long you've been doing this and what your level of knowledge was about Bigfoot before you got started, and was there an incident that propelled you, into this? And I'll give the floor to you, buddy.
Um, I've been researching since 2003. Um, I was an absolute non-believer. Hi, Pappy. I was an absolute non-believer. You couldn't make me believe this. If someone told me about it, I'd laugh at them. I was asinine about it. But then I had an encounter when I was hunting about a mile back. I got into primitive survival, I grew up hunting, and hunting wasn't a sport growing up. I mean, we were serious about it. And then I got serious into primitive survival in a group. And I started hunting in different ways in different areas and doing differently than other people. And I ran into something that shouldn't have been there. And she chased me down the road for a mile out all the way to my truck. And I had nightmares for 2 years over that. And I did a lot of the historical research. What is this? Does this really exist? I have a pretty pragmatic mind, a scientific mindset on proving and disproving. My little boy, for some reason, loved this show called Finding Bigfoot, and he wanted to go find Bigfoot. And I was like, "Are you sure you don't want to do anything else, please?" So we wound up. I said, "Well, you know what? This would be a great opportunity to disprove it." Okay, so I set out to disprove, and to disprove them, I took the knock away from Bigfoot and just studied the knock. Because if I can debunk the knock, then Bigfoot isn't real. And we spent a number of years doing that, and I failed in doing so. I couldn't debunk it. Everywhere I went, I got knocks, and eventually we had one come into the firelight, 7.5 foot tall female. Right there, 3 of us are looking at her. There was no debunking this. She was real. The knocks were real. And when I got home, I even studied mass hysteria and mass hallucinations. Because my mind, I could not wrap my mind around this, and it took a lot of years of study and going out knocking and tracking and experiencing these. And it was really her little boy, the female. It was actually her little boy that was up there that really helped solidify, because he would come in whooping, and I'm out there hunting and just having experiences with him and tracking him and just really having to wrap my mind around, these are real beings. They really exist. I didn't want them to exist. I never wanted to know about them. But it's something that's there, and I'm in the woods quite a bit, hunting, fishing, and doing primitive survival. Primitive survival, you don't have a whole lot of firepower with you. You got a big knife and you got a flintlock. So if you're out there in the dark by yourself, are you safe out there? And that was a question in my head. So I'm doing a study for the safety aspect. I'm not trying to prove to them anymore. I've already done that to myself. I'm here to do the work, to do the research, the experiments, and put the findings out there for everybody else to look at and discern for themselves. And so,
you actually had you're saying you actually had a 7.5 foot tall female walk into your camp, and you had a good view of her.
Yeah, this is the one that chased me out of the woods for over a mile.
That's awesome. Could you see the face, or was it the lighting not good?
The firelight lit her up. She was already a dark red orange. But the amazing part of that experience was her light collective ability of her eyes. You see, when she chased me out of the woods for a mile, she was younger and thinner. And when I was jumping out of the woods to my truck, I turned, I looked, and I saw her. She was 10 yards away, and you could see the sun reflecting in her eyes. And so, that messed me up. That screwed my world up for a while. But then, as we're knocking, it's a Saturday. I'm working. I get off at noon. My son says, "I'm bored. I want to go do something." And so we go to the same area 3 miles away, but we're in such an improved area. I thought there's no way anything is going to come in here. Right. Well, she knocked and ran all the way around this clearing and came up behind in the wood line. And this is dark. She steps into the firelight. You can see her right there. And you can see the fire reflecting in her eyes. And as her eyes would flash to the fire and then to me. And when her eyes turned, you could see the corneas standing up off her eyeball and the firelight racing around inside the cornea as the light was collected into her eyes.
So she was close.
And that, 20, 25 yards to a big fire.
Wow.
So I've had a lot of experiences. I've had, I did an interview on another channel, and I didn't know about the classifications that they have for sightings, and so a person in my group looked it up and we're reading it, and it really has a lot to lack. It lacks a lot as far as how they classify things. But to classify them, I've had 2 face-to-faces with the female, 3 with the little male. I mean, right there. I was fishing and he comes up in the brush. I could have reached back and scratched off his head. Okay. And that was about the time he hit puberty. They hit puberty, in my experiences in tracking him and aging him, they hit puberty about 48 months of age, which is equivalent to a 12-year-old of ours, which means at 6 years old, they are at 6 years old, they're equivalent to an 18-year-old. Between 6 and 7 years old, they're equivalent to an 18-year-old compared to us. But I spent a lot of years tracking and watching his foot grow. And
now, at that age of puberty, how tall are they usually?
About 5.5 foot.
Okay.
About 5.5, not quite 6 foot. His foot grew between 0.9 and 1.3 inches per year.
That's what I was going to ask.
For the 4 years that I was tracking him. And when his foot hit about a size 9 and 9.5, that's when he hit puberty.
So you think he was becoming pretty comfortable with you?
He was comfortable with me until he got shot.
He got shot?
Yeah, he got shot. There was a road hunter, a notorious road hunter that was coming through the area. When he hit puberty, when I was fishing, when I didn't pay him any attention, he went out there and he grabbed a sapling and he tore it down to nothing. He grabbed a sapling and just stripped it down and just tore it down onto the ground. That was aggressive, and that had me a little worried. But then I'm deer hunting, and he'd come find me, but I'd hear him yelling. He'd come through the woods down this creek bottom yelling, come yelling, and he'd get real quiet with about 50 yards of that little dim road, and then he'd cross that dim road, and he had a trail he'd come up, and it zigzagged around top of the hill. Well, I found his trail. He did that to me once. Well, I found his trail, and I got back up, set up in some ferns above his trail with my camera, and I'm on video him. I hear that, he comes running, and then pow, 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 pow. Someone unloads a revolver at him. I hear Sasha, his mama. She comes up. She's about 40 yards on a bluff. She lets out a blood-curdling yell. He lets out a yelp. He's about 200 yards to my right now. His road was to my left. He's 200 yards to the right. And I get freaked out and get out of the area. And since then, the relationship, it's not like we ever sat down and shared an apple. We did not have that kind of relationship. It's just that he knew I existed, and I knew he existed, and I didn't try to kill him. I've had him sit out. I've spent nights with Sasha 40 yards off my fire knocking, because she knows if she comes into it, I'm going to leave. I've had him come out, sit 60, 80 yards on top of the hilltop between 2 trees looking, whooping at me. And it's a weird type of curiosity, I guess you'd call it, more than it is anything. But I think they study me as much as I've studied them.
Absolutely. Do you know who shot? Go ahead, Ricky.
Patrick, I've got a question for you. During the interactions that you were having with these 2 Sasquatch, could you ever tell or did you perceive that they was a male presence of their
There's
species?
there's definitely a male presence. There's actually 4 of them right now up there. The one female I interacted with for years. And then I found the little male tracks. He was about a size 7.5, 8 when I found his. And then I realized, well, if she has a little one, then there's definitely a big one, right? Well, my tracking partner, who's also in the trim group with me, he wanted to experience one. So I took him up there and we built a fire just like my son and I did. Well, then I'm knocking, I go to knock. That guy Booker has sweet practice. I got there's so much. There's so much, to discuss. But at one point, my tracking partner and I are 25 yards behind them in the dark with flashlights, pushing them out of their tracks and tracking them as the rainwater filled their tracks. And we did so until I found a 19-inch track. Okay, I've got a 16-inch track, Sasha track. I got an 8-inch little Sam track. We're tracking them. It's fine. They're 25. And then I come across this 19-inch track. And I said, I'm not going any further.
No, that's your warning, wasn't it?
Yeah. And we actually got on audio, in another group, we got on audio the bigger one knocking at us. But, I don't really discuss that group much.
Okay.
But it's definitely been, there's been a lot to basically what I wanted to do was either prove or disprove their existence. If they exist, come up with a way to foster or bring along experiences to make observations of their behaviors. Because just like anything else, if you want to film deer, you got to know deer. If you're going to film turkey, you got to know turkey. Any animal you're going to go after to film, you got to know, how close you get to spooking them, what time of day they work in, what their habitats are, what they call home, what they call feeding areas, what they call bedding areas. And so everything I've done has been geared to that. And so going from proving, disproving them to developing what I call a single knock theory. Single knock theory is what allowed me enough experiences to make observations of their behavior. And that's twofold. First off, when you go to knock at them, they think you're one of them because they don't expect anybody to know how to knock at them. But second off, once they realize this is a person knocking at me, how does he know how to use this? And some individuals will find out it's you and take off. Other individuals will be curious and come in and look at you at 60 yards out, trying to figure out how you know how to communicate using their knock system. So making observed behaviors, the 2 primary questions I had in my head that actually have been answered now. What is their zone that you don't spook them? What is the closest you can get to without them knowing you're there? Because just outside of that is your realm of video. Because there's no hiding from them. I'm gonna tell you right now, you cannot hide from them. I don't care what camouflage you have. I don't care what you're hiding under or behind. They're gonna find you and they're gonna see you. There's no hiding. So you got to stay outside of their realm of their personal space to the video. The second question was, what level of light can you video them in? Because they like to operate in a level of light at night. Just when you stop seeing your hand in front of your face, that's the level of light they like to operate in. And if it's raining, it's even better. So I had a light sound experiment that I set up. I'm a firm believer they see IR. I've seen their eye shine in IR. So, and if any animal's eyes reflect IR, they got to see it, because my eyes don't reflect IR and I can't see it. That's my theory. So I'm a firm believer they see IR. So I took some trail cameras, disabled the IRs, and they're small. I camouflage them, and I dig a hole and I put a radio in it. And I've been playing with the light level that they'll come in on, which is it's been exhausting because you'll set up a light level that your camera will see in, they won't come into it. You'll set up a light level that your camera might be able to see in, but you're not sure they'll come into it, but your camera can't see them. It'll trip it, but it's just shooting pictures in the dark. So now on an individual level, the younger, curious juvenile, I've had them come in on a light and a recorder, but not a light and a camera, and the camera was hidden. But I don't care how well you hide something, they sniff it out and find it, And so I've been learning from failure with that kind of experiment. So, any questions?
No, that's good stuff. Good stuff, man. You mentioned something about the single knock technique. What is that?
Single knock technique was developed off of a video that my son was watching at the time. This guy stepped out off of a cabin way out in the middle of nowhere. He does a single knock, bam, and he gets one back about 80 yards out there. Knock. He got one, and then he did 2 knocks. Then he did 3 knocks. Then he did 4 knocks. Then he just stepped all over the knock, and the knock is very subtle. It's very deliberate, and there's rules to it, just as there are rules to, the conversation we're having right now. You're not going to step on mine. I'm not going to step on yours. We're not going to over talk each other. We're not going to scream or yell at each other's faces. So once you take the knock out, and I was very fortunate to have Sasha. Sasha taught me a lot about the knock. I'm not going to lie. Sasha and one in Texas. I had one in Texas teach me what a 2 knock was, and but just using a single knock. The theory on the single knock is that single knock means, hey, I'm here. Now, if you go sit on a park bench, why don't you go sit on a park bench somewhere in your town and sit there and just say, hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm here. Eventually, someone's going to walk by that's interested enough to come up to you and say, hey, I'm here too. It's just nature of curiosity for the same type of beings. Why are you sitting on a park bench saying, I'm here all this time? How come you don't change? You're sitting here alone saying, I'm here. And then the right individual will come up and touch you on the shoulder. Hey, I'm here too. Pay attention to me. And that is the basis of single knock. It's more of a cycle, more of a knowing what single knock means, and a psychological test to, for them to come in curiosity.
So what would
you talking
go ahead,
about?
Greg.
You talking about the single knock? What time lapse do you let occur between these knocks?
I'll do a single knock, and hardly ever you'll get one on the first knock. I'll wait 60 to 68 seconds, and I'll do another single knock. And and I've learned something in recent months. I'd go out and I would do a single knock, and by the time I got to my 5th knock, I'd have a response. You'd hear a hit, and have them come in. But I don't know if people are driving around knocking at them. I don't know what's going on, but it's got to where in some individuals and in some areas, you don't get a response right off the bat. So what I did is I went for almost an hour doing single knock every 68 seconds. And then finally I got a 3 knock, a 1 knock, a 2 knock, a 2 knock, and a 1 knock. And that's all within about 15 minutes, Wow. And so what it was, and this also goes with vocals too. If you just sit there and hammer out, doing what you're doing, whether it's vocals or knocks, eventually they're going to get tired of that, and they're going to say, shut up, So it's much better if they like to communicate, but If you just keep hammering at it, you're sitting there in the dark hammering away, and you're a little creeped out, and you're like, are they ever going to answer? It's just so easy to give up.
So it's your recommendation. Would it be your recommendation if you're in a new research area to just hit them with the one knock technique just to see if you get a response?
Now, here's what you have to pay attention to. Where your feet are extremely important when you're knocking. When I say where your feet are, I mean you don't want to be in their territory in the woods. You want to be at a log landing or some improved area on a map. And a knock will carry for about 1 mile. So if you get within 1 mile of an area you believe that they're in, you need to search your map and find an improved area. I don't care if it's an old gravel road that no one uses or whatever. Get in that area and use single knock. Because when they're approaching an improved area, in the back of their mind, they know that there's a possibility of a human being there. You don't surprise them. If you go 1/4 mile into their woods and do a knock, they're expecting to find one of their species there. And if you could surprise them, you could have a bad experience, a real bad experience. So there's a difference. I call that being intrusive. I'm not intrusive knocking. I'll go in tracking, and I've had them parallel me, and I've become an acorn inspector. I'm picking up acorns because I don't want them to know I'm tracking. Because once they learn your trick, the woods change. The woods change once they know you know.
Okay, we got a little bit of feedback there. Last we heard was you said you become an acorn inspector. What'd you say after that?
Because I've had them. I've been paralleled, and a lot of times if you're out and you're paying attention, they'll be between 60 and 90 yards. You'll hear this little stepping out there. And if I know I'm being watched, I'm not tracking in front of them. I don't want them to know I'm tracking them. Because once they learn that you can track them,
sorry guys,
everything changes. Because once you know, and they know the rules in those woods change. See, the biggest concern of theirs is that their world does not change. That's their biggest concern. And so long as you don't know they're there, then their little world is safe. But they have to study you. Anytime you go into the woods, if you go into a WMA, they'll watch you walk down a trail, do your thing. Most people put their nose on a trail. They go to an area, they do their thing, they hit the trail, and they go right back down the trail to the truck and they leave. They're used to that. They have observed that hundreds of times. Now, they know their little world is safe. They'll just back out of it. You do your thing, and then, you leave, and they'll come back in and do their thing. But once you know, and they know it's all different. It's all different for you. I can't even hunt in my area anymore. Okay, I can't even go up there to hunt or fish because they'll come and circle me. The little one that isn't so little anymore, he's probably a foot taller than me. Just a few months ago, I was up there fishing, and I'm like, hey, I haven't got knocked at yet. That's amazing. Well, I pick my fishing pole, my tackle box up, and I start towards the truck. And here it comes. Knock. I'm here. And when you're by yourself, it's creepy.
Mm-hmm. Now, have you been able to distinguish what multiple knocks mean, or is it all just speculation?
No, I know definitely for sure, for certain. A 1 knock means, hi, I'm here. A 2 knock means, I'm here and so should you be. It's basically an invitation. A 3 knock is a warning, get out of this area. Danger, warning, get out of the area. That's 3 knock.
And that's like 3 knocks with no, very little silence in between them, like knock, knock, knock.
It'll be bam, bam, bam.
Okay.
Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam.
So if you hear 3 knocks, you need to just leave.
Well, what they're doing is they're alerting any being in their area that a human is close and that there is danger, and that you are a danger to them, or they perceive you as a danger to them. So that's the 3 knock. I had a 3 knock, a 6 knock, and a 3 knock. And for the life of me, that's the first 6 knock I ever heard. But knowing that it was sandwiched between 2 3 knocks, it was either an ultimatum or an explanation of why I didn't need to be there.
So did you leave?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Have you ever seen aggression after a 3 knock?
Aggression? No, everybody leaves. Everybody
Okay.
gets out. I've been in the woods hunting and have one skirt, and I did a 3 knock on a tree, and it left. It was gone. It went away. So it's a 2-way street. If you can do a 3, you can do a 3 knock and they'll leave. Or if they do a 3 knock, then I suggest you leave.
So you think if you knock 3 times, they'll leave?
I've done that. I've done that multiple times. I did it to one that I didn't even know. I was hunting some private land in North Louisiana, and I hunted the land quite a bit. And I heard it coming through the woods on 2 feet. And it got within about 40 yards of me creeping up this hill before daylight. And I knew exactly what it was. So I grab a stick and I go bam, bam, bam. And all you hear is and it's gone. It went out of hearing. So yeah.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. It makes sense.
I've been doing it a lot of years. I've been proven and disproven. I don't go out there and say, "Oh, I feel this." I go out in a pragmatic way. I try. I have an experience. I come up with a theory, and I go out and I try it, and I see what happens. And it may take multiple times to get an observation and come up with the rule of that. But 1 is I'm here. 2 is I'm here, and so should you be. 3 is warning, danger, get out of the area. And also, there's another rule, and it goes back to how they watch you and how they're concerned about their own little world and that their little world don't change. If you go into an area doing things that people don't usually do in areas that people don't usually do them in, you're going to get checked out. If you hike back in half a mile into some woods where no one goes, and build a fire, just sit there in a chair. You'll hear them come in about 60 to 90 yards out. If it's a dark moon, they'll get closer. They'll come in to 35 yards on a dark moon. If you can't see your hand in front of your face, those are the moons I hunt on. A dark moon or a moon that, like we just had, where the moon rises at 6 a.m. and sets at before the sun goes down, and there's no moon. Those are the times to go out and do this.
Okay, so you were saying it's a good thing to go out, hike in about a half mile in, throw your chair up and and make a fire and just sit and listen?
If you want an experience.
Mm-hmm.
If you want an experience, if you get within a mile of where their home spot is, if you get between their home spot and their hunting area, if you go in there quarter, 3/8, half mile, build a fire, sit there, you're going to hear, on a dark night, you're going to hear one come up real close. And it's just creeping along. You'll hear it just creeping along. You can explain it away as anything you want, but you'll hear it out there.
Interesting. Wow. Good stuff, man. You got anything, Ricky?
Patrick, you were talking about these creatures. Do you actually think? Okay, let me start over here.
It's a lot, I know.
Yeah, each week at the end of the show, I reiterate to the viewers that when they're in the woods with these things, if they happen upon one of them, they need to be careful. They need to back out, leave the area, leave them to their own vices. What is your opinion to that?
Absolutely. I just went through that this spring with a friend of my son's who absolutely have no idea what's going on. He was pig hunting at 2 a.m. with no light on a moonless night, and walked right up on a family of them, got growled at. And he did exactly what he should have done. He got out. He backed off. He got out of the woods. He got to his vehicle as fast as he could, and he left. He didn't panic, even though he was absolutely terrified. He didn't panic. He didn't fire his weapon. He just got out as quietly, as peaceful as he could. He kept his peace, got in his truck, and left. And so now my experience wasn't that peaceful. I ran for a mile on the first one. I had 2 encounters, but that led me to this. But mine wasn't that peaceful, and I still to this day don't know what she wanted. But if you have to run, if you're being chased and it's breathing down your neck, yeah, get out of the area, run, get out as fast as you can.
Now, you were running. Everything I've ever heard is these things are extremely fast. Do you think that she could have gotten you and just chose not to?
I clocked the second one at 40 miles an hour chasing my truck.
Wow.
Yeah, she can outrun me. There's
So
no
you
outrun.
think she could have gotten you? She just chose not to. She was just telling you to get out.
I had a weapon. They know what weapons are. When you touch it, I had one coming in at 25 yards, and I put my hand on my weapon. It immediately turned and went in the woods. They know what weapons are. I had a weapon on me. I don't think she would have. I think she knew if she'd have jumped on me, it'd have been bad for both of us. But I still don't know what she wanted. I don't ever want to kill one. I'm a no-kill person unless if you ever hear I shot one, it was a bad deal, Mm-hmm. But they certainly know what weapons are.
I agree with you 100%. We went out on a trip, some of our guys this past week, and we actually had a discussion. We were going out doing our walk, and I had the 45 on my hip, and another member was talking about bringing his long gun with him. I said, no, don't. I'd rather you not do that. And that's why I tell all our guys that you take something with you, but keep it on your hip. Don't take a long gun, because I've heard too many stories that these things know what they are. Yeah. Protect yourself at all times, but be smart about it.
I carry an MP40, and I got a TLR6 laser sight tack light on it, so that I don't have to find a sight picture at night. I just push a button, and I got a laser sight and a light, and wherever that red dot goes, it's bang. But I hope I don't ever have to use that. But it's on my hip, and we had an incident where one was stalking around us and tried to come in, and I wasn't going to pull the trigger. I just wanted something in my hand just in case, because I had other people there. And as soon as I touched my weapon, it turned to the left, darted in the woods, ran down the hill, broke a stick, and ran out there at 90 yards and sitting there watching us. I actually got out and tracked him, backtracked him up the hill, found the stick he broke, and put the stick back together.
Wow. So, what's your opinion on what these things are? I mean, are you more biological, or do you believe the paranormal aspect, or what?
I can only state what I've witnessed, and I've tracked these things in every season of the year. I've seen them crossing creeks in muddy, cold water in January. If I think they had some kind of portal they could portal through to get somewhere, they wouldn't be crossing a wet creek, getting their feet wet and their calves wet, crossing this creek in January. and ice cold water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. Very well said. All right, you want to go through some of these pictures? We got about 20 minutes left. We'll just click on them, and you tell us a little bit about what they are. You want to do that?
Sure.
All right, well, here's our first one. Looks like we got a track.
That is the young male's track that his mother is Sasha. That's little Sam's track. And that was just out of the play area. They got a playground area that they play in the bottom. You can see the big, I'm actually got my finger on the big toe. That's a left foot track.
Okay.
The heel comes back to the bottom of the camera screen. That is a mud pie. That is in
what?
That is a mud pie.
Mud pie.
Yeah, that is a mud pie that was dug out of a drainage creek. They piled the mud right there. If you see the limb and all the leaves above it, the little one, even at a young age, they teach them to get under things and hide, even in play.
That's interesting.
All right, that's a creek crossing in my area. That's my tracking area too. That's a creek crossing, and there's a trail that comes down a hill across the damn road. That's about 80 yards from where the little Sam got shot at. But
okay,
that leads into that's their water barrier that's between your trailhead and them. There's elevation behind that, and that's their home spot.
Okay.
And that's where they're grabbing onto a sapling as they're stepping down into the creek.
You ever found any hair or anything on that?
Man, it's just like they rub the bark off where their fingers are grabbing.
Okay.
But I haven't found any hair on that. I've been there. Yeah, that's the tracks. I even labeled them right foot, left foot, Sasha, right foot, left foot, little Sam. And that's they use that sapling. They step down. They cross the creek, and you can see where they use a knee to get up on the other side and crawl up.
Okay. So how steep is that embankment?
From where you're seeing, about 4.5 feet from where that right foot Sasha is up to the top of the embankment. It's about 4.5 feet.
Okay.
Okay, that's where they're excavating. That trail there, if you look just across the bill of my hat, there's some ferns up there at the hill. That's where I was set up at to get a video of him, and that's the trail he was going to come down. But that is their trail. Across the creek is their home area. On this side of the creek is kind of a carrot area. But they were actually digging a hole inside that hill, excavating dirt out and resurfacing that trail due to erosion.
Now, I've heard you reference their home area a couple of times. How close have you been able to get to it?
Where I was standing at right there, I was 240 yards from where they sleep at.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of their digging sticks. They leave it right there by their X.
So
my son and I crossed a trail there July, and when I came back in the end of August, they had an X set up there, and they had those two digging sticks there.
So have you ever witnessed them using a stick to dig?
I heard them at a distance piddling around with the sticks. I haven't seen them pick the sticks up. It is purely photographic evidence of no mud on the stick and then mud on the stick.
Yeah. Same
so you
thing.
See you can see the mud on that stick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got a trail that I know they use. You have dirt being pulled out of a hole just above the trail they use. You have a stick that is clean one day and dirty the next. That's the best I can lay it out there for you.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good evidence.
I mean, y'all could look at that and discern out. I really do try to be objective about things, but then sometimes I go off of observed behavior, evidence I've collected, and experience. So y'all can look at this objectively and determine what y'all think.
Yeah. Pretty good track.
Yeah, I found that one 6 weeks after he got shot. I was in there hunting. I was actually hunting an area and tracking. And when I found that track, I thought, oh, thank God he's alive. Because up until then, I didn't know.
Did you ever find out who shot him?
There's a guy in a blue Dodge that road hunts up there. And he just road hunts. He just creeps real slow. And I don't care for road hunters myself. But this guy will creep real slow down the old road. And what jumps out in front of him, he shoots. And that guy had a heck of a story to go home and tell after that day. But if I was him, I wouldn't go back up there.
Oh, absolutely. I'd say you're right.
Yeah, that's another track that's behind another X in a neighboring state. Okay, that is another X we found. If you just go 140 yards straight past that X, there is a recreation area there.
Recreation area?
There is a recreation area just 140 yards. You see, if you look past the X, straight through the X, you see the grassy hill up there. Just the other side of the hill is a recreation area. That's how close they get. And that X means this is our spot. And I didn't believe in wood structures. I still, if I see something, I still really don't put a lot of stock into it. But the 3 X's I've seen, I can confirm that they're not naturally made, and they do mean that this is, don't come past here.
Okay.
So, Patrick, do you think that is territorial markers to other Bigfoot?
I do.
Or do
I believe that is. Go ahead.
Do you think it is a territorial marker to other Bigfoot or to humans themselves?
To whom it may concern.
No, to humans. I mean,
that's.
Do you think that these things?
I know, but I believe it.
Go ahead.
I believe it's to both. I believe it's to both. I believe they use it for both. And it's crazy to say that they make these, but I've had too many experiences behind them. If you stay out in front of them, you're okay. If you go behind them, you're not, just your presence there is being intrusive. You can get an unsolicited warning knock out of that, just walking behind them. So, okay, this is some private land in a neighboring state. I was doing some tracking up there, and that is it's an erosion area that animals travel through, and they have an ambush hide where they wove limbs into place on one side and on the other, depending on which way the wind is blowing and which one they use. And that's number one. And if you look to center right of the picture, you see there's a clump of brush that was gathered up and thrown in that ravine. They fill those ravines with brush so it turns the animals to where they'll skirt closer to the ambush site, to the ambush hide. You know, and that is probably the most significant evidence or evidence of intelligence on their part that I have come across ever.
Absolutely.
In between in between the pine trees back there on the upper right, they took brush and stuck it in the ground in between the pine trees, you know, to where it's just about 16, 18 inches up, you know, a tall brush fence in between the pine trees, driving the animals to where they want them inside this pit. I call it a kill box.
How smart is that? You know,
It's crazy. You know, it took me a while to digest that. But as a primitive survivalist and a trapper, I mean, that's pretty smart.
yeah.
That's the secondary. If the winds come out of the wrong direction, if you go up there, you can get in, and they have limbs woven in it, and you just see them like this. You know, this is all they want. This is all they do right here. You know, which kind of brings up how they treat you. How they treat you when you guys go in the woods, and they're 90 to 100 yards out. They're doing this to you through the brush. They're looking like this. Okay, they see you way before you see them. Okay, they can pick you out on a moonless night in a rainstorm at 460 yards, and they can read what's on your hat. That's how good their eyes are. And so you're hunting something that can do 40 mile an hour pretty quietly and can see 460 yards and read what's on the bill of your hat. And people say, well, how come we don't see them? Well, their personal space is a lot bigger than yours. You know, your personal space in the woods is maybe 60, 80 yards. Well, you go 5 times that. And they pick you up a lot sooner, and they'll just step out of the way. Whatever direction you're going, they'll just step out of the way and let you keep going. If you're doing something that they're not used to seeing, they may follow you. You may hear them out there, you know, creeping along, watching what you're doing. Yeah, that is eyeshine. That is out in the middle of the field on private land. I have the landowner's permission to use this photo.
So that's not one of them that you've been studying.
This is an area I started studying this spring.
Okay.
This is a new area in a neighboring state, a very large parcel of land that the landowners let me track on. My tracking partner, I turn a corner, and we see these 2 huge illuminated eyes out there. And I can't get a word out. He elbows me. It's right there. Do you see it? And he elbows me, and I'm seeing it. And he's so excited, I can't get a word in edgewise, you know. Well, then I pull a thermal up. I can't find it. Well, what it did, and this is pretty smart, it went out to the right, come up even closer, and was watching my head and staying out of my peripheral. And the camera accidentally caught it out there watching us. So we actually saw that guy full-bodied, 110 yards in the starlight. Eyes are about this far apart, orange-red glowing, huge, massive black mass moving in the dark. He paced about 25 yards this way, turned, and you could see him as he turned. You know, you can see the eye, the corner of the eye as he turned, he looked. And then he turned back and he paced it, he turned back and looked. He did that 3 times and he's gone. And I casted his tracks.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
How big were they?
Man, I don't know. I cast them and gave them to the landowner. I'd say 16, 17 inch track. But the landowner has them.
Okay.
Out of the tracks I've casted, I don't have one. You know, the person with me, I send them home. Here, enjoy this. You know, I really am about lifting people up. I don't seek the limelight. I'm not here for attention. I do this to push a subject and a study of a subject forward for a greater understanding and a greater understanding of exactly how safe we are when we're out there. Because I'm going to tell you right now, these things are breeding. Okay. That pig hunter, that one that I tracked the family of them for him to give him some kind of closure. That was in city limits. Okay. They're living just across the river in city limits. You know, they're not. People think that Sasquatch is a being that lives out there. Well, they live right here. They're closer than you think.
I really, really believe that.
Yeah, your rural communities, they live around your rural communities. You know, because it's just 12 miles away from me that I track these.
And that's one of the things Ricky and I, one of the very first things Ricky and I started talking about when we decided to, to partner up and do this was big reason for that is they're running out of room. You know, we keep expanding, we keep building, we're taking their home. That's why the sightings have increased, and that's why they're close to homes now because they ain't got nowhere to go.
Yeah. Well, that's part of it is anytime two different species of beings try to occupy the same space at the same time, there's going to be friction. And when you rub friction up against a 96 inch tall, 600-pound being that can squash you, there's a definite safety concern.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there really is. And so that's one reason, the main reason why I'm doing this. You know, I'm not out for a book deal. I'm here to say, hey guys, these things are real, whether you want to believe it or not. Just because you haven't seen one or not, they've seen you. They know they're real, and they know that you're real, and they study you when you go in the woods. And you got to be careful. If you see an X, turn it.
You're doing a great job out there, man. You really are, and you've offered to help us in our group, and we're gonna take you up on that offer, send you some stuff, and want to thank you for coming on tonight. Man, hard to believe we're already here at an hour. Time flies when you're doing this. Talking about something you're passionate about, you know, it's easy to fill an hour. But we appreciate you coming on, buddy, and we'd love to have you back. You come across some more stuff, find anything interesting, anything groundbreaking, man, just hit me up.
All right. No problem. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate the platform y'all provide. Y'all do an excellent job, professional. It's nice meeting you and nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Patrick, appreciate it, buddy. And like Wayne said, anytime that you want to come back on the show, just give us a shout. We'll have you back anytime, man. Appreciate it.
All right. And if y'all have any questions, if something that jumps in your mind for whatever reason, just, private message me. I'll answer as best I can.
Okay. I'll be getting with you shortly with what we talked about before the show tonight.
Okay.
All right, buddy. You have a good one, all right?
Oh, you too. Bye.
Appreciate it. Goodbye.
Pretty impressive guy, huh?
Hey, man, I'll tell you what, the guy seems to know what he's talking about. It's something that he's like us. He's taking this to heart. Seems to me like he basically lives and breathes Sasquatch.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, doing a really good job out there. Some of the stuff that he talked about tonight just clicked. You know, it made so much sense with the tree knocks. Do what?
Especially from a researcher's point of view on this. You know, you take a layman that doesn't really know anything about Bigfoot, things that we discussed tonight may not really seem that trivial to them. But, hey, man, he hit on keynotes tonight that really brought me to the forefront in this and the things that I will be trying and will be doing in the near future.
Absolutely. It reminded me about stuff that we've done in our field research while being out, some of the mistakes that we've made. He touched on some stuff that we're doing wrong. And you don't know. You learn that stuff through trial and error, or you learn it from people that's done the trial and error that can teach you. And that's what he did tonight, and I appreciate it.
I had a guy, we were talking about the guns earlier, and I had a guy that emailed me here a few months ago from Clayton, Georgia, and he and his brother had an experience. Well, actually, he's the one that had the experience, but he and his brother went in on the river up there above Clayton, and we're going to do some trout fishing, and he said his brother had taken just a little short, maybe a 3-4 foot little trout outfit with him, fish with, and he in turn had taken like a 9-10 foot fly rod. Well, he said his brother did not get bothered at all, but he said that as soon as he got down on the river with this fly rod and started, casting out, he'd made like 3 or 4 casts, and he said he had a rock the size of a basketball thrown off the hill right in the river in front of him. And this thing continued to throw rocks until he left. And he and I were discussing this in email, and my belief on it was that the Bigfoot actually perceived that fly rod as being a weapon, some type of weapon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, good show tonight. Really happy with how it turned out. I'm glad we had Patrick on. You got anything else before we get going, buddy?
Now, just everybody remember, like Patrick said, and like I say every week, just be careful out there. If you encounter one of these things, back out and leave it with them.
That's right. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I had a couple of new people, seems like, that tuned in tonight, and we had most of our regulars. Appreciate it, guys. It's y'all's support that we count on. We hope that we can continue to get it from you guys. Like I said, hit that subscribe button if you hadn't already, and go to the website. And if that's it, then we're gonna get off here, guys. Everybody be good to each other, and just do the right thing. Until next time, we will see you later.
Goodbye, everybody.